Hey everyone, today's mandala is staying in the present moment. And most of our worry, anxiety arises from thinking of future, like what will happen. And all of us are trying to secure our future, save for our future, plan for our future. And it is that future that never comes. So, doing so, we miss the enjoyment in the present. So, I wanted to do this mandala for everyone. I really want to see everyone happy and stress free and carefree. So, I wanted to do this mandala to say we need to learn to be in the present moment. And I know you would say it's easier said than done, and I agree. But this also inspired, other than physics, but this inspired this time because of COVID. So let's all go back 3 years ago. We must have made a lot of plans. Did we know that COVID will be here and almost all of those plans, they will not take place, like in 2019, 2020, 2021, 22. I mean, this is a long time. So I want to go over this time construct. Time is very tricky to explain for us three-dimensional beings, for us humans who are three-dimensional beings. We think that the time follows a universal tick-tock rhythm, but it doesn't. In the theory of relativity, Einstein determined, and I am going to do a little science explanation every time along with my art, because that is a full explanation. Not too much science, but a little for the explanation. So, in the theory of relativity, Einstein determined that time is relative, which means the rate at which the time passes depends on your frame of reference. He actually showed that the faster an object travels, the more slowly the time passes for that object, as measured by a stationary observer. And this is because the speed of light is constant. E equals mc square. C is the speed of light, and I don't know, this is going to be it would make it a little bit longer, but c as the speed of light, it came from when Einstein finished his theory of relativity. He had gone to Mexico to relax, and then he saw this gorgeous woman coming. She was walking along, so he couldn't resist, and he asked her that the speed of light travels, it travels at a very high speed. The speed of light is very high. And she said C. So you see, she said C in Spanish, SI, but that's why Einstein named it as C as in Charlie. So C is the symbol for speed of light. But coming back to our theory of relativity, and not discussing too much about science, but what's astonishing is, according to this theory, one person's past could theoretically be another person's future, which is why Einstein had written to one of his best friend's family. His best friend was Besso when he passed away, and he didn't write just to console the family. He wrote the fact. He goes that, and I quote, "The death signifies nothing. For us believing physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Therefore, we all, on mindfulness, I would like to say, with practice, we can learn to live in the present moment, reduce our worries and various fears in life, and mostly learning to give up control, thus giving us freedom to enjoy the moment. This doesn't mean don't make a plan for the future, plan all the way, but do not live in the future or the past or lose the present moment. If you actually take a break, just take a moment and ask, are you happy or unhappy right now at this moment? Is there anything lacking in your life? You will find most of your worries are only because of the fear of future. So if you meditate on today's mandala, better yet, draw it with me or buy one of the prints of mine, it will definitely give you the feeling of happiness, freedom, and enjoyment, and a higher learning. So if you are ready, let's draw our mandala. Although when I was speaking, I've already drawn my mandala. And this mandala teaches us to stay in present and frees us of the stress and strain of what will happen tomorrow. So now you look at my mandala, which I have already drawn. The central energy is coming up as a pair of swans. And I know I've said it in previous few mandalas that I'm always amazed, regardless of how many hundreds of mandalas I've done, that I'm still amazed at how appropriate symbols that come in the meditation. So, coming to the pair of swans as the central energy, and the swan is a message for you, and I quote. So, it's not my message, it's Swan speaking. A deep commitment to yourself and your own personal growth will bring forth an enormous amount of inner resources. The universe will support all of your endeavors. So, whenever the swan appears, it talks about the development of our intuitive abilities and altered states of awareness, which means that this spirit animal insists that we learn new ways of thinking, breathing, and going with the flow of life. So, going with the flow of life is the main message of the swan, and learning the new ways, exactly, learning to stay in the present moment. So, it is also said that the swans remain afloat, right? And this has led to folklores, and I love stories, and I hope you do love the stories I tell you, or you do like the folklores. So the sailors seek swans as a positive omen for their voyages. Why? Because the swans guide you to keep your head above the water and remain graceful, no matter how large the waves around you become. Okay, so it also means that you must continue to act with grace through even through the challenging times. And right now we do have challenging times. We have COVID from, I don't know, now I've lost count of the years. So for most part, you must believe that you will receive a spiritual reward for your perseverance. But always the trick is not to be attached to the reward. And one of the things that I would like to say is that United Kingdom, they have laws forbidding the killing of the swans. What does this tell you? It means that they reflect that they hold the swans in high regard, because they represent them as symbols of strength and faithfulness. So when a swan shows up, it is a good time to examine, how are you moving through the world? Are you letting grace guide you, or are you lumbering through events that require greater poise? However, no matter what elements you traverse, the swan brings you safely to the next cycle, the next opportunity. So, and here's the other thing, we are doing mandala. Having a swan as the animal in our meditation, it tells us that you are a creative person. And many deities in Celtic culture and even in Hinduism have swan as companions. Example, goddess Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. I mean, her pet is the swan. And lastly, the swans are associated with the sun and the healing power. So the second thing that appeared in my mandala is a pair of fish. So fish represent the unconscious of the higher self, feelings and motives. It's also a metaphor for deep awareness and intelligence and the thought process. So exactly linking us to today's mandala of staying in present, because fish is strongly connected to water element, and they are linked to the steadfast movement and independence. So psychologically speaking now, not talking about physics anymore, but psychologically, water is a powerful symbol of the depths and unconscious. Water also means what? Knowledge and mysteries of the unknown. Since water brings life, all the creatures living beneath its surface, they will symbolize birth, rebirth, birth, fertility, which means abundance. So, fish is also a bringer of good luck and prosperity. Now, as I said before, I love the legends and the stories, and I try bringing them to you as well. So, in every culture, the fish is subject to beautiful legends and stories. So, the koi fish, I actually have seen koi fish in reality in Japan. I went for a conference there. These are some of the perks of being a scientist. So the koi fish symbolize or speak of courage and tenacity and determination. Why? Why do they do this? Because they have the ability to climb rushing streams and waterfalls. And a golden fish pair is also Buddha's 8 auspicious signs. So basically, in nutshell, the symbolism of fish is linked to happiness. And this is what we want, happiness. And why do the fish have happiness? Because they have complete freedom of movement in the water. And see that the freedom we are looking for, freedom from worries, the freedom from future, always trying to do things for the future. We need a break from that. Now, in Indian mythology, the fish symbolism, I cannot miss that, is connected to creation and transformation. I'll tell you the one little legend that speaks of Vishnu, the Lord Vishnu, the god turning himself into a fish to save the world from a flood. But I'll tell you, or I'll let you know, Minakshi, that is my name. It is the name of the goddess Parvati. And her name is Minakshi, meaning, what does Meenakshi means? Means a fish. Akshi means eyes. So basically the name means somebody, a girl that has beautiful eyes, or long and slender eyes, or large and brilliant eyes shaped like the body of a fish. So one of the Celtic sacred creatures is the rainbow salmon, and it symbolizes that it got its wisdom by eating hazelnuts, which is another symbol of insight. And I like this one story from Africa where the fish symbol is from Egypt. Okay, and so it's about tilapia and the Nile perch. Tilapia symbolizes a sunrise because it has beautiful colors, and it's associated with protection because whenever it senses dangers, it carries its babies in their mouth. On the other hand, the Nile perch is associated with the night due to the dark color. So both the fish follow the boat of the sun, since one represents the day, the other represents the night. So here's the vital appearance. In Egyptian mythology, it's the fisherman symbol, a man capable of catching both the fish, who can master day and night, ultimately his destiny. Okay, the last symbol that I see or I'm drawing is a lotus. Now, lotus opens their petal with rays of sunlight and close their petals at sunset. And the meaning is rebirth and resurrection, but you see, the lotus grows in murky waters, and yet it stays all pure. So its meaning in Buddhism is spiritual awakening, purity, and faithfulness. One unique feature of this flower is it unfolds one petal at a time, and no other flower does this. So since the lotus, it goes back to the murky water, meaning it has a meaning in transcendence or the resilience. The lotus represents man's spirit over worldly matter because it blossoms from the underworld into the light. So the Hinduism in particular has a rich meaning about the lotus flower, and most of our deities, the goddesses, they are sitting on the lotus throne. Now, the one thing that we can relate with our real life with lotus is that this, just as this flower goes through so much before it blossoms, so does the human consciousness before it can reach enlightenment or the higher self. So, without going through the difficult lessons of being human, which is the mud, a person would never be able to reach higher states of consciousness, which is the lotus. Okay, so having said that, and I've been busy painting, and in the end, I would like to say that I have tips on staying in the present, but I will write an article. It's on my website, indigoeyesart.com. So there you can read it. But however, if you want me to make a video on meditation to help you with mindfulness, please leave me a comment or DM me or email me. And depending on how many people or the response I get, I will make a video on that. The one thing I do want to reiterate about, or not reiterate, but iterate, within Buddhism is that the lotus flower represents self-awareness, and its symbol is used to encourage us to step outside our comfort zone. So when in bloom, the lotus represents our mind opening up to everything and everyone around us, which is a step on the way to attain eternal spiritual enlightenment. And as you must know, anyone who does the yoga, that lotus is one of the yoga poses, and then in total different yoga poses, they help you feel grounded, stable, and aware. Actually, I'll come back to the lotus where, because I'm drawing this water, and this reminds me that lotuses, and you must know that they root themselves in the mud, so their lengthy stems reach upward to find the top of the water where the blossom grows. And the uniqueness, I already said, is that the petal unfolds one by one. The other uniqueness is that their stems have holes in them. If you are underwater and if you have a lotus stem, you can actually use it to breathe, so if it goes above the water. And other thing is that lotus stem is really delicious if you cook it. I think in this mandala, I really as I always say, that you would know when the mandala is finished. And in this one, I really think that I really want to do the background colors, and that's why it's not finished. And I'm gonna see what colors come up. And honestly, it is nothing is planned, and you should let your heart lead you to make this mandala. Then you have the true benefit. But you don't need to trust me. I wish you that you draw it with me or by yourself and see for yourself what comes up. So in the end, I would like to say that in this video, I have not provided any tips how to stay in present, but I would like to make a video depending on how many people are interested. Otherwise, you can please visit my website, indigoeyesart.com, and I have a full article on mindfulness and how to stay in the present. And like I said about regarding the video, if you leave me comments, DM me, or even email me, then I would make a video on a meditation that will help you to be in the present moment. It seems that I'm nearing the end of my mandala, so I'll see you next time with another exciting topic. So I never say goodbye. It's goodbye for now, and I'll see you next time. And I hope you had fun doing this mandala or listening to it. And if you did, um, then please like and share and subscribe it. It helps the channel grow in remarkable ways, and it helps other people who don't know about these things. A lot of people have told me that they have benefited from it, so that you will be helping other people. Okay, Indigo Eyes Art out, and I'll see you next Monday. Thank you. Bye.